12682. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer, he is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. How we doing, Mr. Hill?
I'm doing great. My weekend couldn't have gone any better. Obviously, the Tigers win, the Bengals win, and my Yankees force a Game 5. I'm feeling great right now, baby.
It's all Rizzo.
Yeah, big RBI, baby.
Opening hour on a Monday, always brought to you by The Shed Barbecue here in Baton Rouge. We'll give away some lunch at the end of the hour. Tigers do get the win, 45-35. We're talking about it here in hour number one. We'll get to the SEC slate at the top of hour number two, and certainly cover Saints and Bengals as well. But really, really nice win for LSU to go on the road to Gainesville and get this one done in a rivalry that's kind of becoming a little bit lopsided, dare I say. LSU at this point owns Florida. They have won 4 in a row in this rivalry. They have now won 5 of 6 in this rivalry. They have now won 6 of 9. They have won 11 of 16. Look, it's been all LSU over the last decade between LSU and Florida, and it was a really impressive performance by a team that is inconsistent. At times they look really, really bad, but at times they look really, really good. And sometimes that's been half to half in games. They were pretty good start to finish outside of a couple big plays in this one. They get a 10-point win in the Swamp.
Yeah, big-time win for the Tigers, especially with their offensive performances you kind of had the past 2 weeks. You couldn't do that going into the Swamp, especially with the way AR starting that game through that big post route and thought the roof was about to blow out the Swamp. And I thought the way the offense continued to battle, continued to make big plays, it took so much pressure off the defense. Normally, if someone had told me, hey, Florida's going to score 35 points in this game, how great do you feel about LSU going into the Swamp and getting it done? I would have not felt great at all just looking at the offense, the way they played all season. But I thought, from totality, I think really the big part, the X factor in all this is getting the freshman left tackle in there. I thought, who would have thought having the freshman left tackle in there got a lot more push in the run game. You saw that, especially on runs to the left side. And I thought, obviously, the way JD5 played, that's the guy that Coach Kelly named the starter. That's the guy they continue to stick with week in and week out. And that's a play that they expect from him. And if he can continue to play like that, especially with the weapons he has on the outside, you're going to see this offense score a lot more points than they have all season. But all in all, that was a big-time performance for this team to go on the road with a team that was really scoring points and getting big plays, but to continue to fight and battle and figure out a way to win. That was a huge confidence boost for this team.
Look, I think what could be safe to say before the season, when you were looking at this quarterback battle and you're looking at Jaden Daniels, who had started 30 games at Arizona State, and you're looking at Garrett Nussmeier, who had started 0, you could say, well, you're going with the safer play. He's got the higher floor. He's in fact, when you watch the way this offense played, he's got the higher ceiling. Now, there have been times where LSU's been terrible in offense. They were not good in the first half against Florida State. They were not good against Auburn in the first half. They were not good against Tennessee for most of the game last week. So it's not as if this is happening routinely, but what he did on Saturday is more impressive to me than what anything Garrett Nussmeier could do, because he's got the speed and the athleticism, got the ability to extend some plays, and then you get the ball to your playmakers' hands. They scored touchdowns on their first 6 drives, and these are not short field touchdowns. These are not big play touchdowns in most cases. This is just putting together football drives. Through 3 quarters of play in this game, LSU had accumulated every possible yard, 100% yards converted. First drive, 12 plays, 75 yards. Second drive, 12 plays, 73 yards. Third drive, 7 plays, 75 yards. Fourth drive, 83 yards on 5 plays. Fifth drive, 75 yards. The average starting field position on these first 6 touchdown drives was LSU's own 22. They were routinely going 78 yards for touchdowns. That was a clinic by LSU's offense.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I talked about it with this offense all season long. The best way to do that is get chunk plays. And you saw this offense finally do that in a high clip. I don't know how bad that Florida defense actually is, because I don't think they could have played any worse than they did at home with the home field advantage behind them. But You finally got the chunk plays. You got them in the run game. You got them with JD5 using his legs. You got them obviously in the passing game, the vertical passing attack, and that's how you score the amount of points they do. Especially when you kind of are on the road, you're dealing with the hostile road noise. You got to get those chunk plays to take the crowd out of it. And I thought they started the game that way, and they finished it that way. So if you're going to continue to play like that, get this offense explosive plays, keep the defense off the field, score a bunch of points, it's just got to help you win football games a lot more than you have in the past, especially when you kind of look at some of the performances you did not play well in. The offense just was not playing to this level. So if they can continue to kind of replicate this going forward, this offense can be definitely difficult to deal with, especially when you mix in JD5's legs.
Yeah, and they were just so good on third down. They converted 8 of their first 9 third downs, and the one they didn't convert was the 14-yard pass to Kayshawn, which they spotted at the 13, a yard short. They went for the 4th down and got it. I thought it was a bad spot. I thought he caught the ball a yard and a half past the sticks on that one. So even the one they didn't convert, I think they actually did convert it. So just awesome work. And they weren't even that short of third downs for the night. They averaged 7.5 yards on for a third down attempt, and they were converting at an unbelievable clip. They ended up 8 of 12 in the game. So just an awesome job by the offensive line, an awesome job by Jaden Daniels. It's a Florida defense that's got its issues, sure, but LSU showed what it can be on offense. I just think I think there are probably going to be some struggles at some point moving forward. I don't think there's something that's clicked and you've just got it. But what we knew is that they have playmakers. There are guys on the outside that can make plays. Jaden Daniels allowed them to do that for the first time really all year. He completed 5 of his 8 passes that were more than 15 yards in the air, 5 of 8 in this game. Previous to this game, he was 4 of 24 on those throws against Power 5 teams. He averaged in the game 15.2 yards for completion and gave Brian Thomas a chance and gave Kayshawn a chance and gave Brian Thomas another chance and put the ball up and let his guys go do what they can do.
Yeah, 100%. I've been calling for it all season. You got guys on the outside who haven't fallen off a cliff. They don't just think. I know everyone keeps mentioning these drops, but receivers are all about rhythm and confidence. If you give those guys confidence that you're going to give them chances, even the one they said BTJ dropped, I don't know what more you got to do to show that's a catch. It seems like he controlled it all the way down, pulled it up, pointed the ball forward. But even without that big-time catch, those guys were going down the field, making plays, one-on-one coverage. Our boy Jure, it doesn't get enough love. Throw that ball deep to Jure. He's down the sideline. Next thing you know, he's in the end zone.
Little push off. We'll take it. I ain't mad at it.
They don't call that. They don't call that. You got to really, really flop for them to call that. So it's a little hand fighting. Our boy Jure knows how to do that, veteran player on this team. But, yeah, I thought Jaden, giving those guys the confidence, said, look, you guys run these routes down the field. I'm going to give you chances to make plays, and you saw them do that. And interesting, the guy that everyone said quit on the team, didn't want to be here around, looked like he kind of showed up to play to me. I don't know. I'm not the brightest of guys in the bunch, but looked like Seven made some plays to me.
He did. 6 catches, 115 yards in the game for Kayshawn, and I thought was really engaged, celebrating with his teammates. And he's really done a lot of that all year. I think it would be easy to say, oh, yeah, well, he gets the 100-yard game, and now you can see him jumping up and celebrating with his guys. And I'm sure that did improve his mood. I think that would make you a happier dude if you're getting the ball and making some plays. However, he's been doing a lot of that all year long. We saw him after the game against Auburn in the locker room when a lot of his guys, TikTok videos and whatever, getting fired up. So, look, I'm glad they got him involved. He needs to be involved, and hopefully they unlocked a little something in the passing game because it was really, really good against Florida. And they also ran the ball pretty well, and it was a lot of Josh Williams. Now, half of his yards, he ran for 106. Half of them are on the 150-yarder, but we'll take the 50-yarder.
Yeah, he definitely will. And those are the type of plays you need. Anytime you have those big rushing attacks where you're going for over 100, normally you can sprinkle a big-time run in there, and that's exactly what they did. And I thought that was a huge kind of momentum, shock to the gut of that Florida defense. You're letting the former walk-on just blitz you like he's beast mode, running a beast-quake run and just throwing guys off of him and just running through them. I thought, that Florida defense was demoralized at that point in the game. There's nothing they could have done to stop the game, stop that run game. And then you mix Jaden using his legs in there. You can see why they fell in love with that. But I thought for Josh, you can see kind of why this coaching staff continues to stick with him, continues to give him the carries that he's getting because he runs extremely hard. And when you're tired of tackling someone, that's probably the last guy you want to be seeing on the second level with a Florida team.
So when we looked at this game entering the week, we looked back and I read these stats off I think 3 different times. But Florida's scoring defense was 12th in the SEC. Their total defense was 12th in the SEC. Their rush defense was 13th in the SEC. Their pass defense was 11th in the SEC. They're towards the bottom every statistical category you can come up with in the Southeastern Conference. So I think you could look at it and go, well, Florida's defense stinks. But the point is, Tennessee's pass defense had been terrible and got gashed on Saturday. Once again, we'll talk about that game a little bit later. But you weren't able to do a lot against them. I know he threw for 300 yards. Did it really look like LSU was moving the ball and in rhythm? No, it didn't. Auburn's defense stinks out loud. Did you go to the Plains and tear it up? No, you didn't. So I think it's a big step forward for LSU's offense, even if it's a bad defense you're playing against, to go out there and be productive in the way that they were. They were great on third down. They were balanced with the run and the pass. They made good decisions. They didn't put the ball in harm's way, and they let the big-time playmakers go make plays, and they did it. And so I think when you put the whole thing together, yes, Florida's defense is bad. They got serious issues that Napier's going to have to deal with moving forward over there, but it's still a huge deal for LSU to look as competent as they did on offense, because there have been plenty of times this year where they have not.
Yeah, no, they definitely haven't. I think anytime you play the way they did at home against that Tennessee defense, where we just saw give up how many points last Saturday?
49.
Yeah, and so you can't play that bad. And obviously the way you played against Auburn without the defense in that Auburn game, you definitely lose that game. So just watching this offense those past two SEC games, it was kind of hard to kind of say, man, like we can really depend on this, or hey, this is what we kind of do well. I thought this was the first time you kind of saw this team kind of have an identity, and that's we're going to stick with the run game. We're going to really trust our quarterback to go out there and make plays time and time again. And if they can do that going forward and kind of build some confidence within everyone, they can kind of replicate this again. But I thought the way they played, it was a huge shot of confidence for this football team.
Shout out to The Shed, bringing us the opening hour each and every Monday. Shed Barbecue. If you've made the drive over to Ocean Springs, whether it's on the way to the beach or whatever you were doing headed out east, and you stop at The Shed for some barbecue, they're here in Baton Rouge now on Burbank. Awesome location over there on Burbank. Tons of indoor seating area with TVs everywhere, and then a massive outdoor seating area as well. They got some live music going on the weekends, and the barbecue is fantastic. I stopped in there yesterday, got a little brisket, got some mac and cheese, got a cold drink. Awesome spot over there at The Shed. If you want a place to grab some lunch, you can go over there by The Shed. They can get you out of there real quick at The Shed. And if you're looking for tailgating this weekend on campus, give them a day or two notice. Call up. You can have an awesome spread of The Shed barbecue at your tailgate. Delicious stuff they're whipping up over there on Burbank, and they bring you the opening hour each and every Monday here on Hunt and Hill. All right. I want Jeremy's thoughts on this moving forward. Does this change your perspective on the next 6 weeks for this LSU football team, or are they still kind of what you thought they were? We'll get to that next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
One of the things I love about betting on the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook, you can combine these props with other bets in the same game and score an even bigger payout. That's perfect for tonight's game.
Bet Justin Herbert over the passing yards, Austin Eckler to score a touchdown. You can bet on Jerry Jeudy if you're kind of feeling sorry for Alabama with his over and receiving yards. FanDuel's easy to use. You can live bet during the game if you see something you like or you notice during the game. The odds change, and you can live bet it right during the game. And look, when you win, FanDuel pays your winnings fast. There's no feeling quite like nailing a same-game parlay, so lock in your bet today on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code 1045ESPN. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues, no withdrawable free bet. Expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to...
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU's trip to the Swamp, the Saints, and Bengals. We'll hear from Brian Kelly. Cole Kublik will join us. It's all Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got SEC Network on in here in the studio, and they're showing the 4 bets that Chris Doering of the SEC Network has lost to Peter Burns. Yeah, had to wear it. What is that even called? Somebody yodels, mountaineer something, yodeler. He had to wear a yodeling outfit. Had to be the Tiger King one year. Had to be Mr. Peanut last year, and I believe this year he was a clown and interviewed Brian Kelly dressed as a clown. So
Yeah. Tigers
Tigers keep cashing in Gainesville and Baton Rouge against the Gators, and Chris Doering has to keep paying up. It's humorous stuff going on over there. The SEC Network. We'll get to expectations for the rest of the year towards the end of this segment here, Jeremy, but I do want to talk about the defense first. If you look at it statistically and you tell me that, okay, Florida's going to score 35 points, Florida's going to is going to hit some huge plays, they're going to gain almost 400 yards, I would have said, oh, it's a little bit disappointing. That's the stat sheet. When I looked at it actually just watching the game, I felt like LSU's defense did a pretty good job outside of Florida hits one huge play for a post, and then you fail to tackle Anthony Richardson on an 81-yard play, which stunk. But I thought LSU's defense was pretty good most of the game.
Yeah, it was solid. I thought when you had to have stops, you got them and you got them off the field. But the big plays are kind of something that's reared its ugly head. Yeah. And I think a big part to do with that is getting Major Burns back there in that secondary. I thought when he was out there, you weren't really giving up those big, passing plays over the top of safeties. And obviously that run Richardson made, I mean, we kind of knew the athlete that he was. He's kind of due for one of those in a big-time game, and once that kid gets momentum that way, he's just so difficult to deal with in the open field. But I thought all in all, I still want to see more Howard Perkins. That definitely was a strip sack. I still don't know why he's not getting more snaps, but I think the defense plays solid, especially those guys up the middle. Wingo's been definitely playing his tail off all season, and also Jaquelin Roy. So, yeah, just got to slow down with those big plays, and if they can do that, I think you'll see a defense that can keep people under 35 for sure.
Did you know that Tom Petty was from Gainesville and that he passed away and that it was Tom Petty Day and that Florida wasn't going to back down? Did you know that? Did you know that?
It seemed like
Did you know that Florida was not going to back down?
It seemed like they were backing down from the first series of the game.
Give it a rest, Joe Tess. You could throw it in there once maybe, but 16 times, we got to calm down with the won't back down punts. That was a little much. But that Richardson run, look, and Brian Kelly talked about it in his press conference today, said, look, we got 3 guys trying to rip the football out. You got to go over there and tackle him. Like he's a 230-pound horse running. You got to get him on the ground instead of trying to rip the ball out. But I mean, as I look at it in the first half, Florida had 171 yards and 52 of them came on the one play, the second play of the game. So outside of that, like 120 yards in the first half, that's nothing super significant. And then in the fourth quarter, they ran for 100 yards thanks to Richardson going nuts. So, I mean, again, I thought the defensive front against a really good Florida offensive line, albeit without Osiris Torrance, which we thought all week long he was going to play. And then I talked to Nick Delatorre on the pregame show an hour to kickoff, and he had seen him on the field, thought he was going to play. So it was a surprise to a lot of people that he did not play in the game, and he's their best player, so that definitely does make a difference. See Will Campbell going out for the Tennessee game. But LSU's defensive front, I thought, acquitted itself fairly decently. Florida was going to run the football a lot. They've got some talented runners. You weren't going to put them in a body bag, but I thought that they showed a little bit of resistance and put themselves in position to get them off the field.
Yeah, I mean, you held their rushers down. I thought that was a big part of what the defense did. You know, holding Johnson to 57 yards and all the other backs 28 and 16 yards. Nothing to really write home about. Obviously, Richardson got a huge chunk of those yards in that long touchdown run. But
he had 30 yards outside of that.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do that, it's like taking a page from my boy Hester, take the big play out and see what happens. But, yeah, I thought all in all, without that big play, they did a phenomenal job in the rush game. And that's something you absolutely had to do against this Florida team. And you saw them have some success, obviously big plays in the passing game, but shutting that run game down was going to be huge in this game, and I thought they did that for the most part.
Are your expectations different now, having seen what you saw in this game moving forward? Do you feel like the season's going to go a little bit more differently than you did on Friday? We both picked them to lose on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both had every reason to do that when you look at how they play in that Auburn game, in the pass game, and then obviously being at home against Tennessee. I don't think anyone say, well, they're going to start lighting the world on fire. Yeah, go Tigers. Just not much evidence to show that. But, I think that just the lift of JD5, man, that was huge for this football team. If he's going to play quarterback like that, I would love to see it one more time. But, anytime you have a 93 QBR out of 100, something tells me you're playing your tail off, and that's exactly what he did. So if you're telling me I get that version of JD5, yes, the expectations definitely should change because it's hard to stop when you have all the weapons he has on the outside.
Sometimes on two sides of an argument, whenever we make them here on the show, sometimes I feel like I'm right. I have the right position. The other position is wrong. Sometimes I just feel one way, and sometimes you can feel another. This is this kind of situation. Feel however you want about what LSU is at this point in the season, in the Brian Kelly era. Feel however you want. Here's how I feel. I went into this year saying, this is not a championship team. They got to go week to week. We're not used to that around here because we're used to building towards the goal of a championship. I don't think that is in the cards for this team. You want to tell me they control their own destiny right now in the West? You would not be wrong. That's not where I am. I am at, okay, that's a nice win you put together over Mississippi State at home. You know what? You had your C game in Auburn, and you found a way to make some plays late in the second half and got a win. You know what? Tennessee's better than you, and they just flat out clashed you in Tiger Stadium. You didn't catch a break. They played great. You got dusted. And then your quarterback played his best game of the year, and you went into a really hostile environment, beat a team with some talent, and beat them pretty convincingly. That's a great job. Okay, now we got to go do it against Ole Miss. Like to me, I expect them to lose more games this year. I don't think they've suddenly figured something out. They've clicked. The new coaching staff has what they want. They found an identity, and they're going to be a force the rest of the way. And I don't think if they lose to Ole Miss that they're going to lose the rest of them. Like I'm not ready to go, man, they control their own destiny right now because they did that, and I'm not ready to say, man, cancel Christmas like they stink. Yeah. When they lose again, because I think they will. It's different mindset than I've been in a long time around here. I think it's the mindset that the coaches try to instill every season because you got a 1-game season coming up and 24-hour rule, turn the page, whatever. I just think there's some potential in this team. But I think they're going to be fairly inconsistent because I don't think they've got pros at a lot of places, and I think that they play some really good teams moving forward. So yeah. I'm not going to allow myself to get swept into the momentum of it, positive or negative, based on 1 week, which is what I think is easy to do.
I mean, yeah. I mean, of all seasons, I mean, you can easily point to this season. It's a week-to-week thing, and you have to continue to go out there and try to play your A-plus brand of football. But when you're dealing with a bunch of 18, 19-year-old transfer kids, new offense, new defense, it's really hard to sustain that for 12 weeks and realize that's just probably going to be hard to get to that version. But I do believe in momentum, and I think sometimes you can spark a fire and, kind of galvanize your troops that way, especially with what you kind of saw with this offense. I know that they're going to want to replicate that week in and week out. Will they be able to do it? It's a lot easier said than done, but I think the way they played last week, that's something that, it's got to fire up everyone. It's got to fire up the offensive line. It's got to fire up the receivers, the running backs, they got going in the run game, and too. Everyone can kind of build off of this type of win, and you get a great opportunity to show that again against this Ole Miss defense, who I think is not very good. I don't think that Ole Miss defense is good. Now, stopping their rush attacks, it'll be a whole different conversation, but you can do that against some of these defense you play. I mean, you said the competition going forward. I'm looking at defenses who I just don't think are that great. That Arkansas defense is taking a huge
BYU went up and down the field. They just couldn't ever get a stop under any circumstance. I was doing the pregame show, and I'm looking up at this little TV we have in the corner. And every time I look up, there's an Arkansas guy running wind sprints. It looked like August training camp, like workouts. They were just wind sprints down the field. But, if you listen to this station for a long time, Jimmy Ott, he always talks about 50-50 games. 50-50. I think LSU has 3 real 50-50 games left. Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Texas A&M, to me, are toss-ups. I would not be the least bit surprised if LSU won or lost any of those games by 2 scores. I would not be surprised at all if they won any of those games. I'd be surprised if they won all 3, but I would not. They are truly 50-50 games, and look, Bama is what they are. They're not one of these juggernauts that they've been and that we thought they may be. Their quarterback's unbelievable, though. So I don't know that's not a 50-50 game even in Tiger Stadium to me. You could beat them. A&M almost beat them. Texas almost beat them. I'm not saying you can't win, but I wouldn't call it a 50-50 game. Those other 3 I think are just straight toss-ups.
Yeah, no, they are. I think, but going into it, I think if Texas A&M was that number 6 team in the country, this number 1 recruiting class, they're so great. They're not that team. Arkansas is taking a huge step back, and Ole Miss, I think they're not. They really haven't been tested yet. They're going to get to the meat of their schedule, and we're going to see what they're really about.
They're going to be tested on Saturday. I don't know. They may come in here and win the game, but they will be tested. That environment's going to be good, and I think LSU will be ready to play. I said that against Tennessee, and it didn't work out that way. But,
Well, no, we kind of saw what Tennessee was. I think they're going to do that to a lot of people. So I know there's no moral victories, but that offense. I'm not too upset at the defense about that one. That's just a juggernaut you ran into on a Saturday afternoon. But yeah, just going forward, I think looking at this team and how they played, like you said, man, they can win these games. It's not like you're going against any world beaters. Looking at Alabama, there's some chinks in that armor. I feel good, man. I feel good. It could be a lot worse going into this week of the season.
For sure, absolutely could. You've got first time in the history of the school you win at Florida and at Auburn. I started in my head thinking about it, and I started ticking off years. I was going back, and all of a sudden I got back to 2000. I was like, that's where my memory kind of stops. I can't go deep into the 90s. I was under 10. So it's a little harder for me. I'd have to go look it up. But I just texted Todd Poley, so I knew he was in the stadium, and who's awesome with stats, and that's his thing. He just does stats. And I said, when was the last time we beat both of them on the road? And I said, never happened. I said, all right, well, I'm going to tweet that out if we win this game. And I did. And people seem to enjoy that. So that's a really good thing. Look, Auburn is a grease fire, and Florida's got its issues. So it isn't as if you went and beat Cam Newton and Tim Tebow in the span of a month to go win. But still, going to Auburn, to Florida, if we're not going to celebrate a championship this year, which I don't think they are, we're going to celebrate the small stuff. That's a nice accomplishment for Brian Kelly in his first year here at LSU. We come back on the other side of this timeout. We are going to talk a little bit about some special teams. We'll talk about our gambling picks from the SEC at the top of hour number 2. Opening hour brought to you by The Shed Barbecue right here in Baton Rouge. You're listening to Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
$1,000 off is good. I don't really care what you're talking about. $1,000 off, that is good. And this month, $1,000 off of it, Reliable Roofing and Construction, doing their part for breast cancer awareness here in the month of October.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
That family is the Hayes family. Lionel, born and raised in Baton Rouge, started his company here in Baton Rouge. He's going to be a partner with you when you have your roof inspected, have your roof repaired, have your roof replaced. Reliable Roofing and Construction is your spot for that 5-year labor warranty. 5-year labor warranty on all of their jobs. Having trouble having your insurance placed because your roof is a little bit dated, Reliable Roofing and Construction needs to be your call. Check them out on Instagram at Reliable Roofing LLC. Check out the website at reliableroofingbr.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and
Tuesdays, OTB. Nick Underhill helps us make sense of the Saints season. Plus, LSU Florida film review. And we'll start to look forward to a battle against Ole Miss. OTB, 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour brought to you by The Shed here on a Monday. We'll give away some lunch in the next segment. The Shed loves to bring free lunch to the businesses around here in Baton Rouge. We love to announce those winners at the end of hour number one here on Mondays. Special teams. So you decide to defer, which I think is great. Amazing. And then you kick it off, and they get 50 yards on the return. And then you muff another punt. Do you want to go first?
I think this is just going to be something growing pains. This is going to be a season of growing pains with the special teams unit. We've talked about it week after week after week after week, and they continue to just have bad plays. Whether it is, you just can't play a clean game. And special teams is supposed to be that boring thing you don't really spend too much time on, but we're spending a segment on this every single week.
Yep.
It feels like, and it's
Talking points. Thanks, Tigers.
Yeah, just something that just a thorn in your side that you just can't pull out. You can get tweezers, you can get whatever you want. It just will not leave your side, and that's just something that this team has to deal with. And I think, with Besh, they had the situation with Malik where he dropped 2 and then he was done. I think kind of Jack has kind of found his way into that mold. Clayton, I don't know how much they trust him, but he had that.
He's the one that went back there after Jack dropped it.
Yeah, he had the mistake against Mississippi State, so we'll see if he has one more mistake up his sleeve. And it's just like, as a coach, I know that has to be frustrating because you're constantly trying to find the best guy to do it, and then you put that guy out there, and then something bad happens. And that's not even talking about the coverage units on that kickoff. That's not great either. So you can't cover kicks or punts at a high clip. You can't return anything because you can't catch the ball. It's just, what do we do? Do we not send the special teams out there and just say, hey, just kick it out the end zone, we'll take it at the 25? Like, what's next? It just hasn't been to the level that you have to be if you're a Power 5 SEC football team.
So last week, I made a pretty demonstrative argument that I thought that a lot of the things that had gone wrong, I wasn't going to blame Brian Polian for. Some I would. Some I would not. As you continue to fail in the coverage game, the continuation of that issue, to me, would fall on the coach. I don't know how to cover kicks. I don't know what they're coaching. I don't know what goes into the personnel decisions there. That's a little too inside baseball for me. But I feel like, and my point was last week, it's not as if the punt game has totally changed in the last 10 years. You could argue that it has on offense. It'd be tough to argue that it has in terms of covering punts. And I feel like Brian Polian understands how to snap a punt, get it punted, and get it covered. They were good at it at Notre Dame. And maybe he's teaching it the exact same way and the guys are not executing it. But if they continue to bust big returns, eventually that does circle back on the coach. I'm still going to place exactly 0 blame on Brian Polian for Jack Bech muffing a punt. 0. Here's why. As I mentioned last week, I think if you were going to tell me preseason who are the 4 guys you would think, I don't need you to run it back an inch to catch a punt, Neighbors and Bech would have been 2 of the first 4 I gave you. And there's a mental thing going on there where they're struggling with it. But if you heard Brian Kelly today in his press conference, he said, I've never seen in my 32 years of coaching anyone go catch as many punts in practice as Jack Bech. And I'm comfortable saying that if Brian Polian is out there watching Jack Bech and he drops 4 out of 10 when he's trying to catch him in practice, he's probably not going to send him out there in the game. This is a mental thing that these guys are going to have to overcome at some point. I cannot blame Brian Polian because 2 of the best 4 wide receivers on the team go back there and drop the football. I'm just not going to blame him for that.
Yeah, and it seems like one of those pressure-filled situations where the other guy dropped it, so the last thing I can do is drop it, and then another guy drops another. And
that's all they're thinking about back there.
And it's like, I can't drop it, I can't drop it, I can't drop it. And it's just, everyone in the stadium knows. Anyone who cuts on LSU games, they're looking at the special teams to be bad. And I feel like when you're young players who haven't really played a ton of football, that can weigh on you. It seems like for Jack, we know how sure-handed he is as a pass catcher and on the punt or the kick returns. That's just something he could probably do in his sleep. But when you're constantly thinking about not messing up, or rather than going out there and make a play, it just makes that thing just way bigger than it actually should be. So I think I wish you could just press a reset button and just kind of take that Men in Black thing and kind of wipe everyone's memory and say, look, guys, it's fine. Just go back there, catch the ball.
Yep.
We'll be good to go. But it just seems like that just won't go away. It's a monster that's just in that special teams unit room. They're going to have to deal with it because, even though you played well, it's another situation where you give a team an extremely short field and in a game where your offense doesn't play lights out fire like it did, that's going to cost you.
Yeah, for sure. And Brian Kelly said this, and it was obvious to everyone. I'm saying I don't know how to coach covering punts. I know how to catch a punt. You cradle it into your body, and Jack's trying to catch it with his hands out in front of his face mask. It's just, and Brian Kelly said today in the press, he's like, yeah, that's not. He didn't use his technique on how to do that. And I know that these guys are coached to do that and that they do that in practice. It's just the lights come on, and sometimes mentally it's just not there. But on the positive side of things, for special teams. Well, it became a positive. It was a real negative there for a second. LSU's trying to put this game away. You've got a 7-point lead, and you get a 3-yard gain to the 17-yard line. You've got 3rd and 2, and you've got 2 yards to put the game away. And then Nick Storrs jumps off sides. Florida calls timeout. You come back, and Emory Jones false start. So you move back 10 yards, and then you got to send the field goal kicker out there. And Damian Ramos, to his credit, steps up there and absolutely drills a 47-yard field goal to basically seal the game. I was less than 50-50 on that one. I was about 40-60 on whether or not he was going to make that one. I felt pretty good about it when they had the ball down there at the 17. All of a sudden, you turn a 37-yard field goal into a 47-yard field goal, and I don't feel as good.
No, I remember watching that Alabama-Tennessee game, and Alabama had the chance to kick the field goal. I thought 0%. I was like, there's no way.
I thought he was going to make it.
I didn't think so.
They've been doing that for 2 years. Shouldn't have beat A&M. Shouldn't have beat Texas. Shouldn't have beat Auburn last year. They've just been wiggling off the hook, and I thought they'd do it again.
Look, I've just seen them miss so many field goals late in the game,
have.
so I'm like, there's no way this kid's going to be the one that just changes that. And, of course, he misses it. For LSU, I was probably 50-50. I'm like, oh, this is a tough one. It's not 50-plus, but it's also not like a little 35-yard chip shot, and it's on the road. And if you miss this, they have a chance to tie the game. So I was not feeling too great about it, but I thought ever since that Florida State game that the kicking unit is something that has been respectable. They haven't given up any more blocks. Ramos seems like he knows what he's doing out there, and obviously that was a big-time kick in that game to seal the deal. So I guess if there's one facet of special teams that you did good in, it would be the kicking game, because he did make all his extra points, and then he made the big-time, one to seal the game in at the end.
So with 3 minutes to go, LSU's got 4th and 1 on the 27-yard line. Your thoughts on their decision to go for it, give the ball to Josh Williams up the middle?
Yeah, I thought the way you were running it all day, especially running it behind, Campbell, SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, I thought you got to feel confidence and go for it in that situation, especially, with kind of where the game flow was going. Sometimes, I think if your defense is playing lights out, their offense can't really do anything, and it's like, okay, even if we do punt it, we're probably going to get the ball right back. Then sometimes in those situations, I'd be like, okay, you can give the ball to the other team, but I thought, giving them another opportunity to just go tie the game, especially with you giving up that many big plays, you had to go for that yard and try to get it the best way you could. And obviously it was a good call for LSU, converting on both of their 4th downs.
I think if you've got Cade York, you're looking at a 44-yarder there. I think if you've got Cade York, you may kick that one to try to ice the game. You got a freshman kicker out there who hadn't done a lot this year, and Florida's got one of the softer run defenses in the league. I thought it was a really good call to go for it, and they did and picked up the 1st down. Then after you got John Emery up the gut for 5, and then Jaden kept it for 3, and you thought you had a chance to put that thing away with 2 yards to go. And as we just went through the scenario there, all of a sudden you look up and got two false start penalties. So you're right back where you started, and you got to kick that one on 4th and 14, and just drilled it. That was really, really good there for LSU special teams, which have been maligned. They've got to clean it up for sure. Opening hour here on a Monday, brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Looking for tailgating this weekend? Don't know what you're going to do for food? The Shed's got you covered. Give them a couple days notice. Let them know what you want, and they'll have your food hot and ready on Saturday for you to head on out to campus. Or if you're having a home watch party, The Shed can cater that as well. Give them a call and pick up those big catering orders of The Shed Barbecue. Love the brisket. Awesome ribs. Got the turkey is fantastic, by the way. If you want something like that, The Shed bringing the opening hour each and every Monday. In the next segment, we will give away a little bit of lunch from The Shed. Come back and close out hour 1. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Tip-off Pelican season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN at the sign-up.
Got to do it. Pelly's season is upon us. We'll talk to Sharif about that tomorrow. But you can watch all the action, bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to totals. All customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass when they make a $5 bet on the NBA. That's courtesy of FanDuel. Don't miss your chance. $150 free in free bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass with the promo code 1045 ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the New Orleans Pelicans. New customers, first online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonus issues, no withdrawable free bet that expires in 14 days. Existing customers, $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply, void where prohibited. See full terms with both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU's trip to the Swamp, the Saints, and Bengals. We'll hear from Brian Kelly. Cole Kublik will join us. It's all Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's give away some lunch here, courtesy of the Shed Barbecue. We do it every Monday here at the end of hour number 1. This week's winner and barbecue headed to their office, Charles Harkless. Charles Harkless is our winner. It's with the FHWA Louisiana division. We'll have some barbecue headed his way for the crew at work. Congratulations to Charles Harkless. We will contact you. Don't worry about all of that. All right, some calls by the officials. Want your thoughts on them. You've already made it clear on a couple, but start with the roughing the passer call that basically ended the game. That is a ball Jaden Daniels throws an interception, high ball. Florida picks it off. They're down 7. Looks like they got a chance to come back and win this game, and they call roughing the passer. Your thoughts on it?
I thought it was textbook. I thought it was textbook roughing the passer. Anytime you put your crown of the helmet in the quarterback's chin and then you drive all of your weight into the quarterback and drive into the ground and you stay on top of him, gave a little extra love at the end, and the funniest part about it, he got up celebrating like he was Aaron Donald and just sealed the Super Bowl. Like, dude,
you did just seal the game. You sealed it.
Yeah, you just got a roughing the passer call. Might want to relax there a little bit, but I don't know. I would love to hear the other side of this argument. Someone who thinks that was one of those phantom roughing the passer calls. Like, he didn't touch him. Like, what happened?
I can't go that far. I hated the call, but it's right. I mean, to me, when I watch it in real time, it looks like a great defensive play, and then you realize when you watch it on slow-mo, their helmets did touch, and he did land directly on him, and you're not allowed to do that. I think the rule sucks, but it is what it is. You can't do it. So I thought that was the correct call. There's a lot of outrage from LSU fans on the Brian Thomas catch, and I'll be quite honest. The first time I saw the replay, I went, that's not going to stand, because he's got both hands on the football. The Florida defender sticks his hand through the catching area, and at that point does knock the ball from one of his hands. He's now pinning it with one hand, which he's got good control of the ball on, but he does not have both hands on it. And as he goes to the ground with only one hand really controlling the ball, it hits the ground. They're going to call that an incomplete pass. In my eyes.
I'm more of an expert on the NFL rule, and the ball can touch the ground if it doesn't move and you have full control of it. And to me, that's just what it looked like to me. Especially when he came up with the ball, there was no bobble or anything. He caught it, came through the ground, came up with the ball, locked in his hands, and it just looked like a catch. Sometimes to me, like if you want to, go in super, super slow-mo, frame by frame, and make sure it doesn't touch the ground, then I guess you have that case in that situation because the ball did touch the ground, but it looked like he had control of it. I didn't see it wiggle. I didn't see it shake. I didn't see him lose possession of it. It seemed like he trapped it perfectly in there and came up with the ball, but that's a call they're going to make when it touches the ground like that. But I thought when you make a catch like that, you can't take that away from my boy TJ. Man,
it was an awesome play. It got a lot of people who weren't even like LSU or Florida. I saw a lot of national people tweeting about that one when he made the play. I think, to your point, it can hit the ground, and I didn't think that it necessarily moved when it hit the ground, but he didn't have both hands on it at that point, which is what I think the officials are going to identify and go, oh, yeah, can't do that. And the last one was Harold Perkins' strip sack. I don't know that I saw his hand necessarily going forward. I know what the ball looked like when it came out, but I think it got knocked out.
That was, man, they just got to – Harold can't – they just don't want my boy to go too crazy this year. They can't rack the sack numbers up, all the hurries, all the, getting to the quarterback. They're like, you got to calm down, kid, a little bit. That's what that call felt like, because – when you just watch that slow-mo, fast-mo, whatever you want to watch, it just looks like a complete fumble. He goes after the ball, which I love to see, guys getting after the passer, going after the ball. And to me, when Richardson even attempted to throw the ball, his hand was empty. The ball was already gone. The ball's in the air already. I don't know what they saw. I didn't have the volume turned up on the TV, so I really don't know what they were saying on the replay. But when I was watching that, I'm like, yo, that is a literal strip sack. I'm thinking the offense should be on the field, and you saw Coach Kelly's reaction, like, you just got to wave that one off. Like, that's just a bad call. That was terrible, especially when you're a freshman like that out there on the road making plays. Can't take that away from the kid, man. It's just, I don't know what it is. Some SEC bias. What is it? New York? Like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's just bad.
They asked Brian Kelly about whether or not he checked on all these, and he was like, no, I think the replays take too long. I think it disrupts the flow of the game. I'm not going to concern myself with it. We're going to move on. And so he's not too into it. I guess the most important thing, Jeremy, not the fact that LSU won the game, not they went to the Swamp, not the important thing here is that Brian Kelly, clearly the correct hire, and good thing they passed over Napier. Guy can't stop anybody, right? 1-0 Brian Kelly.
Look, we talked about this, man. Like, non-story.
Feather in the cap of Scott Woodward, baby. Pick the right coach. Look, they played it on the field.
Wait, I thought that was a team that wouldn't back down, though. They didn't back down.
With the
oh, man. Okay, so not only...
Richardson, 81 yards. They won't back down. God, you said it 37 times. The whole first quarter was he won't back down. I did think that maybe the tweet of the day was from Nick Del Torre, who we had on the show and I had on the pregame as well, said this. I mean, obviously it was 41-21 or whatever, 42-21 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and he was like, I think they should play free falling instead of won't back down.
No, that'd be amazing. And then I don't know, like I'm not so in tap with Tennessee tradition, but as soon as that game was over, they were playing Dixieland Delight. Is that like their thing, or they were trolling Alabama?
They were trolling Alabama.
Okay,
it's Bama's
cool.
song they always play.
Okay. I have to make sure.
The song is about the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So they want to look. You lose 15 in a row and you win one. You do whatever the heck you want. That's what the rule is on that. You take the goalpost down, send them down the river, do a fundraiser, do Dixieland Delight, light up cigars inside, whatever the hell you want to do. When you lose 15 in a row, you get after it and have some fun with it. So good on you, Vols. I was very, very happy to see that. That's just such a sports thing. We'll talk about it with the rest of the SEC games here coming up in the first segment of hour number 2. But that was fun to watch, just to see from afar how much fun they were having over there in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're going to do some Sports Center. We will come on back and get into hour 2, our SEC gambling picks, and a look at Saints and Bengals as well.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
All right, guys, I know you hear it. I hear it all the time. Lady in the house is not happy with the bathroom. She's not happy with the closets, needs more space, needs up. We got you covered. One Bath and Closets. Our guy, David Duvall, been in the business for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathroom and closets. Check out his website, onebathandclosets.com. Look, 30% off of your new closet renovation when you tell them Hunt and Hill sent you over there. 30% off. They're licensed contractors, so they can knock out a wall. They can do the whole cut and cabarrel. Or they can just help you use your space a little bit more economically if that's what it calls for. But let them come in, give you a questionnaire, check it all out, and put you into a new closet, new bathroom in your home. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. One Bath and Closets, OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As Cardinals receiver Marquise Brown undergoes further testing to determine the extent of the foot injury he suffered yesterday, Arizona acquired receiver Robbie Anderson from the Panthers for a 2024 sixth-round pick and 2025 seventh-rounder. Anderson was kicked out of yesterday's game by Carolina interim coach Steve Wilks following sideline arguments with his position coach. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott out the last 5 games with a fractured right thumb, planning his return for Sunday's game against the Lions. Once Prescott is back, Dallas doesn't need to change its offensive approach much, advises ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
Run-oriented, play-action, pass-oriented, making sure they play the field position battle overall and leaning on the strength of their defense. But with him in the lineup, you would assume and you would hope and you would expect that you will get more consistent decision-making, protecting the football better, being able to make those plays outside of structure when necessary.
Louis Riddick. One night after staving off elimination, the Yankees host the Guardians in a winner-take-all Game 5 of the ALDS tonight, 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio. The winner meets Houston in the ALCS.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
The Cardinals need to move on, as far as I'm concerned, from Cliff Kingsbury. Don't look at the previous 4 years he gave you. Forget that. You look at this year. Just like you did Steve Wilks, it's time to cut bait.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. 1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Tom Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Monday. Get some Saints and Bengals talk coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Look, I try not to use hyperbole on the air. I think it cheapens when you say something. If you say something like that all the time, then when you actually want to say it, it's cheapened. A little bit of a boy who cries wolf type deal. So when I say this, I'm not trying to be inflammatory or sensationalist at all. What we saw on Saturday was one of the greatest games in the history of the Southeastern Conference. When you consider all that was at stake there, 15 years of misery and frustration, potentially, we haven't gotten there yet, but potentially back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners throwing haymakers back and forth. The tragedy that was on the field when you drop a football and just let them pick it up and score to take the lead in the second half. And then for Bama to miss the field goal, for Hooker to hit the 2 passes, the kid to kick a ball that looked like it was spinning like a top and went literally fractions of inches away from an Alabama block. And then you see the field rush and the cigar smoke and the goalpost going down the river. That's one they'll talk about forever in Knoxville. The headline from the News Sentinel will be in every restaurant, and that'll be their Florida 97 or whatever you want to call it. One of the greatest games in the history of the Southeastern Conference, and Tennessee finally gets the monkey off their back and wins. And we both liked them. We both took Tennessee plus the points. It was 7 on Friday when we did this exercise. So we didn't cash them all, but we both cashed that one. What were your thoughts on watching that one?
Yeah, barn burner. If you want to Google or definition, get a Webster's out and look up barn burner. That's exactly what a barn burner looks like, just down to the absolute last play. And of course, I made a live play bet on the Vols in that game. And of course, the literally next drive, they fumble the ball. Yeah. Alabama picks it up. I'm like,
walks in, nobody there.
What am I doing? Stay away, stay away. And then obviously, Hendon Hooker, man, that kid's special. And he got rid of the magical goose egg as well, but that did not faze him at all. Anytime you have a receiver have the day Hyatt had against Alabama secondary, I really can't remember too many more receivers. Normally it's the quarterbacks lighting up those saving defense. I can't remember any receivers just lighting them up the way they have. But I think Bama, they're going to really this one's got to hurt them a little bit, because on that last drive, they had Gibbs on a little end route. There's literally no one in front of him. At the bare minimum, he gains 15 to 20 yards, and they're inside the 20. And that field goal is just a lot easier to do, but you have that incompletion, then you make it a lot more tougher for you. Then you bring your kicker out there. We know how we feel about Saban's kickers. I can't remember too many game winners from those guys. And then obviously you give Tennessee a chance with not much time left on the clock, but Hooker stood in the pocket, made a big-time throw, threw it in harm's way. Receiver came down with it and set you up for a game-winning field goal, and they walked out of there alive with a big-time win. And to me, they can definitely make a case to be the number one team in the country right now, just doing what they've done all season long. Defense, not the best in the world, but that offense is going to score so much points and put so much pressure on you. And to have 2 turnovers against that Alabama team and still find a way to win, I thought that was extremely impressive.
You get a 16-point lead, and then you gag it away. And you had to feel like everybody in Tennessee thought, there's no way we could let this happen. I've got some friends now that are Vols fans, because, as I mentioned, my college roommates are from Memphis, and they have very close friends that are big Tennessee fans. So I've been around their group for 15 years now, and I know those guys, and it's just been miserable. They've been miserable every October and November for 15 years. And you think, this is the team that's got to get over the hump, and you've got them at home, and you've got the quarterback, and you've got every ingredient, and then you jump all over them to start the game, and then you just let them chip away, and come back. And they just found a way. That Tennessee has not found a way in 15 years, and they found a way to do it. It was really, really impressive to watch. I did think on that interception that was called back for defensive pass interference, I've seen some stills on it. Looked like pass interference to me, but it was definitely close, and that would have been a heartbreaker if you'd have let that happen. But this one was, you could see this one coming. We know by now what the ingredient is to beat Saban. It's tempo and an elite quarterback, or a quarterback who just plays out of his mind. You either have to have the Steven Garcia, Zach Calzada game where they just go absolutely bananas, or you've got to have the Hendon Hooker, the Joe Burrow, the Johnny Manziel, the Cam Newton, the guy who's just going to go get it done. Georgia's the only team that's really gotten to the point where they can just line up and play with them in terms of talent. Clemson needed Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, and but Clemson could Georgia could kind of show up and just beat them. But I gotta think, now this is just conjecture on my part, that Nick hates what the game has become, because his entire career was built on controlling the game with his defense, and that is no longer a realistic possibility. There simply is not a defense that can go out there against Joe Burrow, or the way that Hendon Hooker's playing right now, or some of these quarterbacks that you just can't hold them to 10. That day is over.
Yeah.
And that's got to drive him nuts. That he's got to win the big games against the national championship contenders. He's got to go out there and score 45 points. And that would enough in this one.
Yeah, no, it is, and it changes the world. And I thought for Alabama, they're going to have to get pressure on Hooker, and to think that, I don't know what it is this season, but I think the Will Anderson I watched him last year, that's not the same guy I'm watching this year. He finished that game with 3 tackles, no sacks. Don't really remember him even making any plays, and to only have 1 sack on Hooker, and he's just got to sit back there and survey the field. He knows exactly what coverage you're in. He's got to light you on fire. And so for Nick Saban, obviously he's known as a defensive back coach. I'm sure just watching that film, whew, man, I would hate to be in that film session on Sunday and Monday for these guys because it just was not good. Guys are running behind people all day long. There's no pressure on the quarterback, and they're going at a NASCAR-type tempo on the ball every single play. And just for a Nick Saban-led defense, it's hard to dial up those pressures. It's hard to get pressure on the quarterback, and then now you're putting your DBs in one-on-one matchups. And, to me, they were just outmatched. And the crazy thing about that is Tennessee's missing their best receiver.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that game if Tillman's at full health and he's out there with Hyatt. So this is scary about that Tennessee team. Like, they're only going to get better. They're going to get another weapon back with a quarterback who's just on absolute fire right now. But, yeah, for Nick, those avenues of winning these 10-3 games, 9-10 games, that you're not going to see that again because there's just too much talent on the outside with all these programs. And then the quarterbacks are just so much better than what he had to face back in those early days. I mean, you're talking about going against Jared Lee and, Jordan, no offense to our guys, but Hendon Hooker's just an absolute different monster.
Trying to find this stat. I believe it was Peter Burns that tweeted it out, so I'm going to try to find it. It's what Tennessee is doing on offense is really, really amazing. There it is. Okay, Tennessee has played 3 SEC games, all against ranked opponents. They've punted a total of 3 times. Alabama in Neyland, LSU in Tiger Stadium. Doesn't matter. They have punted 3 times in 3 SEC games. That's
insane.
Remarkable. And they are going for 4th down some, but the point remains that they're getting them a lot, and they're scoring a ton of points. So a huge win for Tennessee in that program. I was pulling for them. I'm happy for them, and I would call them a legitimate national championship threat. I don't see any way you could not.
Yeah, you can. And I think anytime you have an offense that's putting up 52 points on the number 1 team in the country, and who knows what happens if they don't fumble a snap and throw an interception? Like, is 60 on the table? Like, that's just scary to even think about, and that's without their number 1 weapon on the outside. So Heupel, I think, to me, coach of the year for sure. Like, I don't know who else can make the conversation or be in the group for that.
Clark Lee.
Oh, goodness. The worst coach of the year.
Why do we make fun of Vanderbilt? That's not nice. It's not called for. It's not necessary.
Yeah. It's picking on the ugly baby.
Every once in a while, you just throw it in there for a chuckle.
Yeah, but no, I think you look at that Tennessee team, especially coming off 7-5 last year, and just look at just what they're doing this year. It's absolutely incredible. So, yeah, to me, you got the Heisman front runner right there in that team. Like, we talked about the odds going into last week. I think Hooker, I love to see the odds right now because if he's not first or second, I don't know.
Stroud will be first still, and Hooker will be second.
Yeah, he has to be.
And I'll look it up right here. I've got it. But, Hooker in this game goes 21 of 30 for 385, 5 touchdowns and a pick. He also ran it for 56 yards as well. So he's doing it all for them at this point. So, all right, NCAA football, more NCAA football. Got your Heisman odds right here. C.J. Stroud is plus 100, and Hendon Hooker is plus 440. So you can still get 44 to 1.
Oh, that's the play you make right now. That's the play. I know they still got to play Georgia. Something tells me Georgia's secondary is not going to be giving up 5 touchdowns, 200-plus yards to a receiver, but they might have Tillman back by then. So who knows, man? This Tennessee team's scary. I know I wouldn't want to play them any given Saturday.
Say 4.4 to 1. That's my mistake, not 40 to 1. So just really, really impressive stuff. And Alabama has got its issues, but man, they got a good quarterback. Bryce Young threw for 455 yards and didn't turn it over once. So he's something serious. All right, that'll do it for our look at Alabama and Tennessee. We both got home with that pick. Go through the rest of the SEC slate coming up. Then we'll get to the Saints and Bengals at 2:30. So don't go anywhere. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
This month's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC, is Fresh Junkie Racing.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is a group of racing enthusiasts that have taken their love of running and built a business providing citizens across the state a way to get moving and stay moving. Created by athletes for athletes, Fresh Junkie Racing hosts world-class racing events and triathlons right here in Louisiana, welcoming crowds from across the globe to experience this place we call home.
Yeah, they got 18 events. They had the Huey P. Long Bridge Run this past weekend. Still upcoming the Turkey Trot on Thanksgiving morning. They've got the one in Baton Rouge on Convention Street. Got the one over in Covington on North Columbia. So if you want to get involved in the Turkey Trot, you certainly can do that. Keeping people fit, that's what Fresh Junkie Racing is about. And they also provide quite a boon economically to our state. The Louisiana Marathon $5.2 million in an economic impact on this state. So Fresh Junkie doing things the right way and a great way for our great state. That's why they're this month's Champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. We get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the
Tuesdays, OTB. Nick Underhill helps us make sense of the Saints season. Plus, LSU Florida film review. And we'll start to look forward to a battle against Ole Miss. OTB, 1045 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go to the rest of the Southeastern Conference slate, see how these gambling picks went from me and your boy Jay Hill. I'd like to give a shout-out to Auburn. Hell of a performance on Saturday. Showed up in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, had a game plan. We're going to take the ball to the ground, and they did that. Ran it exceptionally well. Shout-out Auburn. When the dust settled, you ran for 301 yards and rolled up 34 points on Ole Miss. Nice job. Unfortunately, you gave up a bajillion yards. 448 on the ground.
Oh my God.
130 more on the air. 578 yards for the Rebels, and they win 48-34. If I had told Auburn fans, hey, you're going to run for 301, score 34 points, they'd be like, oh, that's awesome. You got beat by 2 scores.
I think the most embarrassing part, you let Jackson Dart go for 115 on you.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? Like, I don't think of him as like Lamar Jackson or any of these guys. You let him go for 150 and end up with 448 rushing yards against you. Oh, man, that's bad times. But, hey, I saw one thing from Auburn. Bigsby can run the ball. And I don't know how he ever win a game with 9 carries, but that blows my mind.
Yeah. He is among the bigger wastes of talent that I've seen in the SEC in the last 20 years. I was trying to think about it. The first name that popped into my brain was Eric Berry, but they were actually decent when he was there. They had 2 decent years, so that doesn't necessarily qualify. But Auburn's been pretty bad for 3 years, and Tank Bigsby's been running the ball for those 3 years. Just an absolute waste of talent over there. As far as the gambling picks go, we both had Ole Miss covering 15. They won by 14. So that one did not get home for the two of us. We lose that one. Vanderbilt and Georgia. I said this on Friday. I said the problem with betting Vanderbilt, the Vanderbilt games, is not handicapping the matchup. You simply have to predict how much the opponent is going to care in the fourth quarter. Well, Georgia scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. They win 55-0. Vanderbilt couldn't scratch a point. They have now been shut out in consecutive years by Georgia. Have not scored against them since the plague hit. So I was catching 38, and we did not even come close to getting home there. You took the Bulldogs and you cashed. So,
Yeah,
so
like I think I learned from a year of this. Like, don't ever just depend on the doors for anything. If it's they hit the total though, they hit the total, and I think,
win total.
I think the other question I had to ask myself: when you go for 23 carries for 45 yards, do you think you could quarterback sneak it entire game and get more than that? Like, I think that's the question you have to ask yourself if you're Vanderbilt. Like, you ran the ball 23 times for 45 yards, 2 yards a carry.
What's coming up for Vanderbilt?
Yikes.
When are they going to get it? Oh, man, they are at Missouri this week.
Okay,
the doors, baby.
Okay, this game of the century, lock of the season, game of all the eyes.
Their next 2 are Missouri and South Carolina.
I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good. At least Missouri showed a little fight against Georgia. They showed a little fight.
Look, these are the point totals, Vanderbilt. Why are we making fun of Vanderbilt? This is unnecessary. But they lost to Bama 55-3. They lost to Ole Miss 52-28, and they lost to Georgia 55-0. That is a total of 100. That's 110, 162. No, 152. No, 162-31. 162-31.
That's bad.
Not looking great for the Doors. All right, they didn't cover it. I can't get my hand off the Vanderbilt stove. Let's go to Arkansas and BYU, an absolute track meet out in Provo. That stadium is gorgeous. Looks really good on TV. KJ Jefferson did get the nod to play, and they just did whatever they wanted on offense for the entirety of the game. BYU had absolutely no chance to offer any resistance at any point in the game. When the dust settled, Arkansas had 664 yards of offense. They threw for 367 and ran for 277. It was a huge play almost every time I looked up for Arkansas.
Yeah, I picked this game based literally on the guy who destroyed them for 5 touchdowns, not playing. And, of course, he just trots out on the field and just lights the world on fire. Oh, man.
Game was a pick, and we both took BYU, and we lost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you sign so deliver, KJ's playing in that game. I don't know if that's a pick. I know it's at BYU, but I think for Arkansas, they're going to have the leading rusher in the SEC. Raheem Sanders, that kid he hits his head on the goalpost at least once a game. I think he's almost at 1,000 yards rushing already. He's having an unbelievable season, and then you pair that with the quarterback play of KJ, the way he played. Like, BYU just did not stand a chance, especially when you give up 52 at home. That's just crazy.
And the last one here, Mississippi State at Kentucky. Kentucky was catching 4. I had Kentucky getting 4 points. You had Mississippi State laying the 4. And Kentucky flexed its muscles in this game. They had not run the ball really well all year. They handed the ball to Chris Rodriguez 30 times on Saturday. He went for 196 and 2 scores. Levis was fine, but it was one of those games where Mississippi State's offense got stuck in neutral, and they got to halftime, and it was 3-3, and they scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, but we saw it in the second half against LSU. Sometimes that offense, and it's not not just Mike Leach's offense, but at times it just bogs down, and they couldn't get anything going in the passing game against Kentucky.
Anytime your leading receiver in an air raid offense is your running back, things probably aren't going the best way for you in Mississippi State. Yeah, so just watching that, of course, I had Mississippi State, getting some points there, but they just couldn't, like you said, couldn't get it out of neutral. And I thought Levis made the big time throws that he had to in the game. Like, obviously Rodriguez had, a really good game, but Levis made the throws when he had to have them. And at home, they kind of don't want people, heading to Rupp Arena already. So they kind of got a big time home win when they need to have.
really emphasize that on Friday. I was like, all right, look, I'm going to go way out of bounds here. They lose to Mississippi State. Everyone bails on football for basketball. Stoops gets cranky, doesn't want to be there, takes the Nebraska job. It's a whole thing, and then all of a sudden they come out there and they win by 10 points. So I tried to make a ridiculous story out of nothing, but it didn't materialize.
No, they needed that, and I thought getting the ball to Rodriguez was a huge thing, and Mississippi State really couldn't do anything about it. He was running angry, running mean. They literally running. All they did differently from Les Miles was hand it to him, but they were running toss dive down their throat every single play, a little power, and he's just kicking it to the outside, and there's nothing Mississippi State can do about it, and it just hits the identity of this Mississippi State program. Soon as you start pumping them, soon as you start shooting them up those rankings, they go and they do what they did at Kentucky. So, yeah, Mississippi State, they're Mississippi State.
All right, so I was 2-3, got home with Tennessee and Kentucky. Did not cover Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, or BYU. You were 2-3 as well. You covered Tennessee and Georgia. You did not cover Ole Miss, BYU, or Mississippi State. So our season-long SEC picks, I am 26-24-1, just barely with my head above water. You are 23-27-1, a 3-game cushion for me. So we'll crank that back up on Friday, see what we can do. I'm going to be out the following Friday, so we'll either have to make our picks on Thursday or I'll have to send mine in. But we'll got to keep it rolling here season long. I'm just a touch above 500. You are just a touch below 500. So that is where things stand. Things do not stand very well for the New Orleans Saints at this point. Let one get away yesterday. The Bengals go into the Dome and get a win. A lot to chew on from that one in New Orleans yesterday, so we'll do that next. It's a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
One of the things I love about betting on the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or grain props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook, you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Perfect for tonight's game.
Perfect for tonight's Monday Night Football game. Got Justin Herbert over on passing yards. You can bet Austin Eckler to go over on rushing yards. You can bet Jerry Jeudy's receiving yards. And they've got an odds booster here. If Eckler scores a touchdown, Mike Williams has 40 receiving yards, and Cortland Sutton has 40 receiving yards, you'll get plus 270 on that same game parlay. The odds are boosted on that one. Just a regular line. Chargers are a 4-point favorite tonight at home against Denver. No feeling like nailing a same-game parlay, so lock in your bet today on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code 1045ESPN. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues and eligible free bets expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who knows gambling problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU's trip to the Swamp, the Saints and Bengals. We'll hear from Brian Kelly. Cole Kublik will join us. It's all Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Richardson, 81 yards, they won't back down! Tessitor voice. Just guy was out over his skis on the won't back down stuff. By the way, as the official czar of SEC traditions, I determine personally and officially which ones are really good and which ones stink. Don't back down at the beginning of the fourth quarter in Gainesville. Awesome. Very good. Mr. Two Bits before the game, terrible. Get rid of that. Awful tradition. But, yeah, Tom Petty stuff at the beginning of the fourth quarter works. And that was not a great omen when they played that song. And then Richardson ripped off an 81-yard touchdown. But we got it figured out and got it won. Okay, let's go to Saints Bengals, Jeremy. I was a little bit scared of this, and I was monitoring Twitter a little bit, monitoring my group text, got a lot of Saints fans in it. I was hoping nobody would turn on Joe and Jamar. Can't have that. I didn't want them to get cranky, heat of the moment. But, like, Joe runs that touchdown in, and my buddy was sitting down in that end zone. He was like, God, I still love Joe. He just screamed, let's go, and it fired me up. And he's in there, the Saints fan. Yeah. And Matt, like, they did the pass interference, roughing the passer call on DeMario, and Matt was like, I still love Joe, but so nobody turned on Joe and Jamar, which is great. Yeah. And there's just a lot of emotions, I think, for a lot of people watching that game. He carries with him a bigger presence than anyone I've ever seen at LSU. I wasn't around in the 50s for Cannon, but I've never seen an emotional attachment to any certain player like that. Sure, everybody loves Tyron, and Shaq's beloved around here, and Warren Morris still can tell some stories, and you get it. But Joe is a little bit different, in my opinion, based on what he did, and so I thought some really cool stuff came out of the game from an LSU perspective. I realize not from a Saints perspective, but Joe signing autographs before the game, talking about how much the state means to him, and that he never really signs autographs before the game, but he wanted to do it this time. And he gave a great interview after the game talking about Jamar and about the special memories he had in the Dome. So I get it if you're in black and gold. That's a really disheartening loss, and the season is really not in a very good spot right now. But from an LSU perspective, and I think most of the people here lean LSU over Saints, good to see our guy back in the Dome, and he certainly played well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's the antithesis of a guy like Ben Simmons with a guy like Joe, guys who comes into Louisiana and fully embraces the culture. The first night he sits here, he's wanting to crawfish. He's wanting to be one of the guys, wanting to learn. You see the Burrow jersey spelled in that Cajun style, and then obviously the play on the field and the leadership he's shown for this school. It's just you haven't seen anything like that before. And so to see him come back to the state, obviously everyone knows where my cheering interest was, rocking my Burrow jersey. I wish I could wear it all week, but, I'll save that for another time.
We're on Ole Miss.
Yeah, so, I think for Joe, that was a big-time performance. And you can just look at the two quarterback plays in this football game. I think it tells the whole tale of this game. You look at Andy Dalton, he had a 29 QBR. Taysom had 4 attempts, and he had a 63. So it lets you kind of see there. And then, to me, the Bengals kind of put this game in Joe's hands. They only rushed the ball 14 times, and they just let Joe kind of run the show. And he made all the big-time throws when he had to have it. And I thought Jamar Chase was due to have a big-time performance, and that's what he's going to do if you continue to leave him one-on-one. Obviously, 2 touchdowns, a big touchdown at the end of the game to seal the deal. So it seems like the 2 Bayou Bengals came into New Orleans and, had a big-time game, and those 2 were a huge reason why the Bengals came out and edged the Saints for sure.
Yeah, I have a lot on this game. I said on Friday that the Saints were going to have to dominate at the point of attack when they were on defense. And they got 3 sacks, but they never forced Joe into a big mistake or created a big turnover from that. So while they did create some pressure at times, they didn't make the game-changing play that they needed to, and Joe was really, really good. When I look at the injury report, we didn't even really consider that enough on Friday when we were talking about it. I can't remember, and not that I follow every team every week, but an NFL team going into a game without its top 3 wide receivers. That is, losing 3 guys at any position is just absolutely brutal. And you get the big play from Shaheed early in the game. Where did that come from? Okay. And Kamara did run the ball pretty well. They got him to just about 100 yards. And it wasn't like the passing game totally suffered because of it. And you scored 26 points, which for this team has been decent. But I think your defense kind of let you down there. And certainly the inability to get Jamar on the ground on that last play. 2 different guys had a shot at him and couldn't get him on the ground. The defense let you down for the first time all year, in my opinion.
Yeah, can't have those big plays, especially with the game on the line. And I think if you were to ask every Saints fan, hey, you're going to have 228 yards rushing in this game. You're going to go for 6.7 yards a clip. They would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. So to get the run game going to the level they did and to still somehow find a way to lose at home, it's just that's super demoralizing. And it goes back to Joe having to make those big-time throws when he had to. And Jamar, I don't know why they kept leaving him one-on-one. I said it before the game, double team that guy. Don't let him beat you.
And you don't have Lattimore, and you've got a hobble to Debo, and Roby's out there.
No,
it's just
no.
It's not to say. When you think of C.D. Deuce with 2 picks last night, Lattimore's not on the field, Marcus May has been out, and you don't have any wide receivers. They don't have the team they were supposed to have. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can go to the practice squad. Yeah, you can go to free agency, and you can backfill unlike a college team. But these are your guys, and they're not out there.
No, it's not. And that's the thing about the NFL, especially even when you're a super, super talented team. The drop-off between your starters and your backup is just so significantly bigger than it is for college football when you can trot another 4-star, maybe the 5-star freshman who hasn't played much. This is normally the undrafted guy or the 7th-round pick that barely made the roster who's on special teams. It's not the Pro Bowler to the next Pro Bowler. And so when you get those guys out of the lineup, offensively and defensively for the Saints, you got to play a perfect brand of football to win the football game. And they just couldn't make those plays down the stretch. And Joe came into town and found a way to get a win in the Superdome.
So I think this is something that we talked about the first day we ever had this show, that our perspective when we cover the Saints will be a little bit different than everyone else you hear. Obviously, T-Bob grew up with a dad who played for the Saints and is a diehard Saints fan, and so T-Bob grew up in the Saints culture. And Hester has allegiances elsewhere, and so maybe a little bit. But, Charlie Hanniger loved the Saints for 50 years. Matt Moscona was born in New Orleans, loves the Saints. Jimmy Ott, from New Orleans, loves the Saints. And so I think you can absolutely adequately cover a team with a strong allegiance to that team. I don't have any problem with that at all. But you're not going to get that perspective from this show because we just don't have any Saints allegiance. And I think if you are a diehard Saints fan, you probably look up at this and you go, we're 2-4, injuries all over the place, not thrilled with the quarterback play. Is our new coach any good? This season's over. And Matt tweeted that out yesterday, said if they lose on the road at Arizona on Thursday, season's over. It's not. It's really, really not. Tampa stinks.
Yeah.
Tom is out at Kraft's wedding and not at meetings and yelling at people on the sidelines. They are disjointed. Atlanta is what you are one game out of the division. No one said you had to go 13-4 to make the playoffs. You got to be the best team in your division. There are only 4 teams in the NFC with a winning record.
Yeah.
It is far from over.
Yeah. No, I said that going into the game. I'm like, if you look at the NFC South, I mean, you're talking about the Panthers. I think they're out of it. I could go ahead and say that now. They're out of it. But the Falcons and the Bucks, they're not having world beater type seasons. I think the Falcons may be 3-3 at this point. The Bucks are 3-3 as well. So you're game back of those guys. If they lose next week, you're game back. So yeah, you're right in the thick of things. You still got an opportunity to play those teams again. And I think the number one priority for the Saints, you got to get healthy. Like, it has to be that team you looked on paper with to start the year, and you feel good about the weapons you have. You feel good about the cornerbacks you have, and that's just not the same football team. But I think there is some bright spots with this team. The fact that they're able to run the ball they have, especially with Ingram and Kamara the way they have the past few weeks, they can build off of that, especially when you get those weapons back on the outside. So not the end of the world if you're a Saints fan. A lot of football left to be played. But I still think number one priority, get back healthy and get this full Saints team back out there and help you win football games.
And let me be clear, like, I'm not betting on the Saints to get super healthy and rip off 6 in a row in November and December. Like, I'm not betting on that. But to sit here, in the middle of October and go, this thing's cooked, it's over, it's really not. You just got to go get some wins because it feels like the winner, it feels like 9-8 might win the division. I mean, that's very possible. If you can beat Tampa in Tampa, which you've done a good job of over the years, you're right there in the middle of it. So again, I'm not suggesting that I think it's probable, but once again, like, I'm just not in this league, especially in that conference and that division. This thing's not over.
No, it's not at all. And I think if you're looking at the rest of the division, you already have a win over the Falcons. That Bucks game you kind of let slip away, but
turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers. Yeah, the Jameis game, famous Jameis game. But yeah, you're right there. Getting healthy is going to be huge for this Saints team. Obviously, you never want to start a season 2-4. I don't think anyone predicted that for the Saints, but if they can get back healthy, this division isn't world beaters. It's not like you're looking at the Eagles at the top and you're like, oh yeah, we're done. Like, there's no chance we could cover that type of ground. But you're right there. So we'll see how the Saints fight and try to get back in the scene.
I mean, just look at some of the results that involved some of the teams that we thought would be atop the NFC from yesterday. The Falcons beat the 49ers by 2 scores. The Jets dominated the Packers, which kind of shocked me a little bit. The Steelers have nothing, and they beat Tampa. The Rams finally won a game, but you thought the Cardinals might be decent. Seattle beat them by 2 scores. Philly looks good, and I think Dallas is potentially pretty good. But I'm not scared of the Rams.
Yeah.
The 49ers are fine.
They just lost to the Falcons.
The Vikings,
Yeah, it's kind of the teams that you kind of never thought. The
Giants.
Eagles and the Giants and, I don't know what's going on in the NFC, but, it's not the normal prospects that you have going into the season year after year. So it's a wacky season for the NFC. So if you're the Saints, you're not out of it at all. I think we'll see kind of what they do with Jameis. I know you think they've really high on him and they've kind of, shuffled some things around and give him a chance to be the quarterback. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think if Andy can get, Olave and Thomas out there and Juice out there, I do like him better as that team's quarterback. But I think we'll kind of see how they kind of massage that quarterback situation.
The Saints circle around me is pro Andy at this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's a part of it that's the injury to Jameis, but I think there's also a part of it that's like, what has Jameis really shown us to say that he's significantly better than a guy who's just kind of managing the offense? At best, he's thrown for a ton of yards. At worst, it's a freight train of turnovers. So he hadn't been the starting quarterback in 3 years. So what suggesting that he's definitely better? I don't know there is anything.
No, I don't think so either. And I think anytime those turnover demons rear their ugly head and you lose a football game because of it, that's how you lose all the favor that you gain in the short amount of time you were with the Saints. And so, yeah, I think Andy's not, obviously not lighting up the world MVP candidate, but he's got to keep you in games and he's not going to turn it over at that alarming clip that you've seen from Jameis, especially if you're going to give him a run game. So I would love to see Andy with all the receivers healthy in the run game to back him like they have and kind of see what the Saints offense look like. With scoring 26 at home, normally that wins you a lot of football games, but when you got Joey B, man, Joey B coming to town, that's a bad boy to deal with, man. It's a bad boy.
He's good. All right, we want to invite you to check out dropbiscuit.com. If you're looking for a new podcast to check out, dropbiscuit.com is our podcast spot here at Guarantee. You can browse our growing library. You can subscribe to some of the podcasts that you may like, Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated. Whatever Southern-flavored audio biscuit you fancy, dropbiscuit.com is where you can find it. We'll come back, play some Take It or Leave It. Get on down the road. It's a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford. Check out the inventory, BayouFord.com. When you go to BayouFord.com, the first two words you're going to see right there are don't settle. Do not settle. Just because they've got one variation of the car you want on the lot and they don't have another one, I'll just take that one. You don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. You don't settle. They can customize a vehicle that meets every need of yours. Just let them do it over there at Bayou Ford. They can turn around that custom vehicle in 60 to 90 days and have it delivered right to your front door. That's how we do everything now, right? That's how we buy everything, order everything. It all just shows up at the door. Bayou Ford can do it. You can customize a vehicle through them. Ben Gagne and the crew will help you out with it, and they've got 6 full-time drivers. They will drive one right to your front door.
Yeah, have it at BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline, tinted windows, ready to lift 3 kit on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
We like that. Bayou Ford, the inventory's there at BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do. Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill. You want cheese on your burger?
Tuesdays, OTB. Nick Underhill helps us make sense of the Saints season. Plus, LSU Florida film review. And we'll start to look forward to a battle against Ole Miss. OTB, 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Fast moving 2 hours here on Hunt and Hill. Tomorrow's show, we will have Sharif Ishak from WDSU. We'll have a Saints are on a quick week, so we'll talk to Sharif about that. Also, Pell's open up this week. Get a couple questions in for him there. Glenn West of Go247 will be with us as well to talk LSU. And I'll throw a little fall baseball update. I was able to go out there yesterday and see a good bit, so we'll talk a little fall baseball coming up at the end of hour number 1 tomorrow. All right, let's do some take it or leave it, Jeremy.
All right, here. Former Florida Gator Chris Doering lost another bet betting on the Florida Gator against LSU again, which resulted in him dressing up for a live show on SEC Network as Chuckles the Clown, with head coach Brian Kelly telling him probably a smart idea not to bet again. Chris Doering should probably lay off betting against the Tigers. Take it or leave it.
I mean, they got to come to Baton Rouge next year, so that's not great. But no, you got to keep doing it because it's great content. We've seen him dress up as a yodeler. We've seen him dress up as a Tiger King. Now we've seen him as a clown. PB just keeps getting the best of him, and it is very humorous to see, if you have not, to see Chris Doering conducting a serious interview with Brian Kelly, who's on video chat, dressed up as a full-fledged clown. It is quality content, and they got the makeup done pretty quick because he was doing the whole show without it, and then for the last segment he came in and had the makeup on. So hat tip to those out there at the SC Network. It's solid work. All right, newly acquired defensive back C.D. Deuce up there in Philadelphia. Big time performance last night on Sunday Night Football. It's 4 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions as the Eagles crushed Dallas 26-17. The Saints made a big mistake. Take it or leave it.
I guess I have to take it. I mean, hindsight's 2020. Anytime you're dealing with a team that's normally battling that injury demon every single year, that probably isn't the worst thing. And then what they got for him in the trade, I don't think that's gonna. I mean, we went over the Saints' later picks in the draft. Like,
yep.
What are you getting there? So I think right now, looking at that secondary, kind of the plays they've been giving up all season, I think that's a guy who they could have definitely lose, especially kind of the mentality and the swagger that he brings to that defense. Yeah, I thought they probably should have held on to him for one more season, even though they probably weren't going to sign him again for the next year.
You're going to have a hard time knowing that Marcus May would get hurt and that Marcus Lattimore, Marcus Davenport. I always mess those two up. Marshawn Lattimore would get that Alontae Taylor would get hurt and Adebo would be. I mean, it's just been a disaster back there in the secondary. So tough to see.
Yep. All right. Here, after a huge home win over the 49ers, 28-14, Falcons head coach Arthur Smith took the entire offensive line to the press box suites where they indulged in some cold Bud Light to celebrate the victory. Are you taking or leaving? Crushing a cold one with the boys after a big home win.
Couldn't take it anymore. Could not take it any stronger. Feed the boys some Bud Lights. These guys are 340 pounds. They've been knocking heads for 4 hours. Got a W. Get him something cold to drink. I love the play. Love the play. Love to see it. It's not quite the party that was in Knoxville, but a pretty good one there for the Falcons. Who look, they're better than you thought. Speaking of celebrating victories, I'm seeing all these Tennessee fans going nuts. There was one on Twitter I saw earlier today. A guy, it looks like he's in his 40s. He got some springs. He had some decent hops. He was jumping, and on the second jump, the ACL just goes. Okay. And he's on the ground, like he's hobbled down. He goes to the ground, but he's still raising his hands in triumph, even though he's torn his ACL and he's laying on the ground. So you go to Peter Burns' Twitter. He retweeted it. You can see that. But yeah, that's tough. You're celebrating the win, and now you're gonna be on crutches for a while.
I never thought in my life I would enjoy hearing Rocky Top as much as I did over last Saturday. But seeing that picture with all the cigar smoke just coming up from Neyland Stadium in the lights of the stadium, that was pretty cool for Tennessee. I know y'all called us little brother last week, but y'all got some work to do. But that was a big time win, and thank you. We control our destiny now.
Saw Morgan Wallen, who's a big country star. He's a big Tennessee fan. He was up in the suite with Tony Vitello. They were getting along. Have your fun right now, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
We're coming this spring, buddy. Yeah. We are coming. Actually, you're coming to us.
Yes, sir.
All right, rookie corner for the Jets, Sauce Gardner. decided to rub it in up at Lambeau Field, right in Packers fans' faces. Put the cheese head on, walking around. Alan Lazard slapped it off his head, heading to the locker room. Lazard, sore loser, taking a leave it.
Yeah, taking this absolute 100%. You can't lose to Zach W. at home to the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers. The worst loss of the week is the Jets.
Yep.
The Packers losing to the Jets at home. You got Aaron bleeping Rodgers. What are we doing? Lazard, I get it. Frustrations after a loss. It's those receivers, and there's always those meddling receivers. As soon as they lose a game, they're pushing people on the ground. They're slapping cheese heads off of
they
people.
They had to trade Robbie Anderson. They kicked him off the sideline. He just got traded.
What are we going to do with these receivers? But, yeah, man, I think, honestly, Sauce is having an amazing year. I was kind of confused when he got picked over Sting, but he's been back. Yeah, they're both really, really good. Sting hadn't given him a touchdown all year, and I don't think Sauce has either. So both of those guys are playing well. But, yeah, man, you can't be a sore loser. Let them enjoy. The victor goes to spoils Allen, so you got to let him rock the cheese head, man.
What if Terrell Owens goes to the midfield star and plants the ball? Are you okay with Teague running him down?
That is different. That's during the game.
Yeah.
The winner has not been decided, and you're going to look. Because I just think always the golden rule. Someone goes on that eye, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So, no going to the eye, no going to our logo. No, I know it's just the star from our boy Sharp. Not much love for that star, but you got to protect the star.
And this is like a little different, like the hatred and the rivalry and the stuff that creates so much fun stuff. Ole Miss and Arkansas need new football coaches because I like their two coaches way too much. I can't create enough hatred for Kiffin and Pittman. I got Saban over there. I got no problem disliking that guy. But Pittman, he's just a nice guy. Kiffin, I love the guy.
Yeah, Kiffin before the game, he was like, "Go Vols." Who would have thought Kiffin say a little "Go Vols" before the game? He's like, "I know what's going on in Knoxville today. Go Vols." And got the people going on game day. Yeah,
I got no problem hating Jimbo. That's not hard.
Oh,
I can do that.
Don't get me started. I know where the dead bodies are hidden. Okay, buddy.
You gonna check with God. You gonna find out how I did it.
Oh my God!
We're talking about starting Connor Wegman at quarterback this week, so
we'll
see.
I'd love to see the rookie, baby. Let's see the freshman. Yeah,
I think King's going to play. It sounds like he's healthy enough, but he's a little hobbled, so we'll see. We'll see how things go. That's going to do it for a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. If you missed any of the show, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. It is all right there. We the whole first hour we spent talking LSU and Florida from over the weekend. Talked about the SEC games starting at 2 o'clock for the first 30 minutes, and then we just did a little Saints Bengals there at 2:30. So catch it all on demand if you would. That is going to do it for us. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you from 6 to 8 this evening. Driving you home next is Matt Moscona with After Further Review. Excited for tomorrow's show. We have Sharif Ishak and Glenn West on. Y'all have a great Monday evening. Get your work week off to a good start. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 to 3. It's Hunt and Hill.